Greetings, fellow survivors. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to the first episode of a new series covering Into the Dead, Our Darkest Days. If you would like to skip the game's overview or the setup of this series, please use YouTube chapters, and more information can be found in the description of this video as well. It's a side-scrolling shelter survival game where you lead a band of desperate survivors in a perilous journey through a zombie-infested city. Survive by scavenging, crafting, cooking, and seeking clues about how to evacuate the city. This series will be a mix of Let's Play and tutorial, and you live viewers are going to make some of the most important decisions. It will also air on YouTube. Let's get started. So before the stream, I polled you all about what survivors to choose. But before that, we're going to have a cutscene.
People of Walton, this is your mayor, John Ward. Now, I want to take a moment to thank y'all for your patience and resolve in these most challenging times. It's that Southern spirit, it's that Texas grit that gives me full confidence that we'll not only get through this crisis, but come out stronger on the other side. I only wish I could be here to see it. However, folks, I regret to announce that today I'll be moving my office to a secure spot outside the city limits. Now, no need to go assuming the worst. All right. This move is strictly to facilitate better coordination with our boys in uniform, who are at this very moment putting together a surefire plan to retake our city and eradicate the... Let's get waiting. Where? Excuse me. So just, hold tight, secure your homes, and I assure you...
Hello?
The tide will turn. God bless you. God bless you.
I'm not sure if anyone out there is still listening to this trash, but if you are, know this. Nobody is coming to help you. There's no plan. Look, what they did, it's wrong. It's all wrong. We are trapped, and staying here isn't an option. You have to get out. Escape the city any way you can. Get out now.
All right. There are 5 different choices for survivors to choose, and these are the 2 starting survivors. You can pick up more, and you can lose them. We have Tracy and Wayne, Daryl and Leo, Sebastian and Diane, Hector and Kayla, and Daphne and Penny. And you guys voted for me to choose Sebastian and Diane. Diane spent her time outside of class waiting tables at the local bar, saving for a pair of high-end turntables. She had always struggled to connect with Sebastian, the bar's reserved and curmudgeonly owner. But now, having fled the establishment, the two find that they share something in common: the will to survive. Sebastian is a gunsmith, so he crafts ranged weapons cheaper. He's a marksman, so he deals more damage using firearms, and he's jaded. Morale is restored slower than other survivors. And Diane is untiring, loses rest slower than other survivors, is an optimist, so she passively gains small amounts of morale every phase, but is not very good at barricading the shelter. Daytime, Wednesday, August 20th, 1980. This shelter won't do. Their barricades are in bad shape, and they're barely enough here to survive. We need to move to a new shelter as soon as possible, and then find a way to escape this hellhole. Find a new shelter and move in. As you can see, the priority above my head. The game doesn't really go into a lot of details about the controls, but I will be covering that. So here, every day is split into a morning and a night section, and you assign your survivors things to do for each phase. So there's 2 phases per day. On the bottom left, you have what survivor you're controlling. You can switch between them with 1 and 2. And then they have food, rest, morale, and then if they have any other special conditions, it would show up to the right of that. Like if they had wounds or terrors or whatever. On the top, well, okay, that's kind of underneath the UI there, but you have barricades. I know it's blocking a little bit. And when those barricades go out, you end up, getting broken into and losing. Looks like at the very start, Diane is a little tired. As you can see, her rest meter is about halfway. So I'm going to assign her some rest. I'm going to run over to wherever the bedroom is and put her to sleep for this phase. So she's going to be taking time to recover rest. While Sebastian is going to go out and scavenge. Because you don't start off with a lot of resources. So it's going to be important for me to obtain as much as I can with him. So in order to do that, we're going to run out to the front over this way and walk up to the plan board and hit E. We are in the Buckland Yards. Now the map is not procedurally generated. All of these locations are pre-generated. And right at the start of the game, you're probably mostly going to need base materials. There's also a threat meter. The higher the threat, the more zombies you are likely to interact with, and then whether or not there are new locations discoverable. Now, because Buckland Yards is in the southwest of the map, if we're trying to find a new place to live, it's likely going to be somewhere to the north, east, or northeast. So my first location is going to be the Hackett Construction Inc. With me, I am going to bring a makeshift knife and a meat cleaver. And different weapons, they're either blunt or sharp, and they have different stats. Their durability, their damage, their speed, and their noise. I'm also going to bring lockpicks in case I interact with a locked door. And these are all the things that are in our base inventory. So looking at my base inventory, for instance, we don't have a lot of metal, we don't have a lot of wood. We need a lot of things to be able to build up the base. So let's go scavenge. Once you've assigned all of your survivors, you can hold R and confirm that those are the actions you want to take for that phase, which is basically a 12-hour stint. Here we are, Hackett Construction Inc. Left control is sneak, and this game is very much about sneaking. Make a lot of noise, die a quick death. If you walk up to a door when you're sneaking, you peek in, and you can await zombies to be in the right position. So this zombie, for instance, I'm going to wait until they turn around, and then I'm going to gank them. Bye-bye, zombie. You can also close doors. Zombies will... some zombies are stationary. Some zombies will patrol. And then some zombies are kind of like laying in wait for you to alert them. So this, for instance, is a zombie that just got alerted because I stood in front of the window and they saw me. So left mouse is attack. Q is dodge. And fighting like this wears the hell out of your weapons. So as you can see, this makeshift knife that I'm using, I could have maybe stealth killed 5 zombies with it, but now, instead of 5 zombies, I'm going to be able to kill, like, maybe 3, because I got in a fight with a zombie. For any location that has new locations discoverable, there's going to be a telescope there. And if you hold E on the telescope, it has revealed a new vantage point, the Texway Heart gas, and we can scavenge there next, if we so choose. What we're hoping to do is to go through this building and get as many building materials as possible so that we can start improving our facilities back at base. Now, it's possible to fight zombies with your bare hands, But I will say it's really ill-advised. You were not going to fare very well. Really importantly, I would say, is to make sure that you don't aggro too many at once. Fighting a few at once, you can, or one at once, you can kill them. But fighting too many at once, and you'll die. You're going to find storage boxes all over the map, and you can take things with it with Q, transfer things into them. You have a finite amount of storage. This is kind of like State of Decay 2, if you will. And these looting spots, when they're exhausted, they're gone. Meaning, if I came back here and went to that same pallet, it would not have loot in it. Alright, let's keep sneaking through. So this door is barricaded. I can see the chair on the other side. Meaning that we're not going to be able to get through there. We're going to have to go around a different way. So it looks like that window won't open either. So our best bet at this point is to go up onto the roof. Or double back all the way back down. The other thing that we could do, which may be ill-advised, is to abandon the run. So if I ran all the way left to where I started in this map, it would be like an abandoned run. I would keep the loot that I've gained so far, but that's about it. So I don't know how to get beyond that point, interestingly. Do upgrades transfer from each shelter? Yes. And I'll be going through some of the major details as we play, as they become relevant to the series. So I don't want to be answering questions that are, like, too far. Yeah, I'm going to say I don't know how to get through there. So I'm going to head back to the shelter. It's going to be a bit of a busted run, but that's fine. We did reveal a new location, and we got a little bit of loot. It's not going to be enough to do a lot of crafting with, but it should suffice for now. So we gained the resources from scavenging. The undead attacked and reduced our barricades from 5 to 4. And now Diane is well rested. Alright, let's see what we can do with Sebastian and Diane during the night. So these are the things that you can craft at the workbench. The workbench is sort of the master bench, which allows you to build the other things. So you can make lockpicks, you can upgrade the beds, you can build a communal area, you can build a cooking area, you can build a medical area, a weapons bench, and improving the workbench to improve the other benches. One thing I would really like to do is to build the weapons bench, because it's really important to have weapons when you get deployed. There is also plants out here. Do I have any seeds? I don't have enough water to plant anything. So in this case, what's going to end up happening is, because I don't have enough resources to do anything, minus like making lockpicks, which I could queue up, but I don't really want to, so I'm going to remove from that queue. I'm going to have Sebastian rest while Diane goes out. Because I didn't get enough raw resources to do any building with. So it will not be that effective of a day. Where is the bedroom's this way, isn't it? Alright, Diane, you're up. Let's see if we can get a little bit more loot this run. I think that one location is just bugged. Can both go on a run? No. And that actually is a really important game mechanic. Because every phase allows you to go on one run with one survivor. It also means that the amount of loot that you can potentially get is somewhat limited. So that your shelter, because one of the only ways to acquire resources is through going on a run, it means your shelter cannot support a massive population. So continually adding survivors is not a good idea. And as a result, we might run into other survivors to help out while we are scavenging, but adding everyone we meet is not a rational or smart decision to make, because there's only so much food, water, and weapons to go around. So here we are at the Texway Gas Heart Station, and this station is a little unique in that it can also be a shelter. So not all base locations can be shelters, but this one can. So if we kill all the zombies in this location, we can move in here. And the goal right now is to move into a new shelter. So I intend to kill all of the zombies here and move in. That zombie there seems to be following up. Oh, are you going to turn around? No, I don't think they're turning around. In that case, I'm going to use the skillet. Oh no, they turned around. I'm going to still use the skillet. Alright, let's keep sneaking and see about liberating this area. So as you can see at the top, potential shelter, kill all threats to move in. Ooh, another weapon. I'm going to use the screwdriver as my main weapon for now, because it easily breaks. But as long as I'm stealth, it doesn't really matter how strong a weapon is. Some weapons are like single use, like broken bottles. They break pretty quickly. Is unloaded material lost when the location becomes a shelter? I think it is, yes. But I could be wrong. So the zombie's aggro radius is just inside your vision radius. So if you spot a zombie at the edge of your vision, and you immediately take actions to evade them, they won't aggro. And also, depending on the weapon you use to kill zombies, if there are other zombies nearby, they can be alerted. So you have to be careful, like even if you're doing a stealth takedown, to not do stealth takedowns right in front of other zombies, because they'll hear it. Strange markings. A symbol has been hastily painted on the pavement near the manhole, partially covered by dust and grime. Lee discovered strange markings. Alright, we are getting lots of loot here. It's great. Much better than the last place. There's a zombie here that's just kind of staring at the door. Some zombies will move around, like the one moving right now. Some zombies will just stand still. So what I might need to do in this instance is find a different way to approach that so that I don't end up aggroing both. Because aggroing both can cause a lot of harm. Especially if the weapon that you currently have equipped is something like a screwdriver, which is not all that effective in an actual fight. It's really just a takedown tool. This is Joe. Do we want to recruit this survivor? I'm begging you, don't leave me for dead. So, his traits. Strong shoulders. He has extra backpack space. Gearhead. Gains extra component resource for each dismantled item and depleted. Extra morale loss when hunger is low. So as long as we keep him fed, he's a workhorse, if you will. Do we recruit Joe? Yes or no? Pretty simple poll up top. Have you guys decide. It looks like Joe is going to be our first recruit. Happy to have you. You won't regret this. Thanks. I'll be seeing you soon. So sometimes you'll recruit survivors that you physically find out in the world, and then sometimes it will be like through radios or other events. Alright. In this case, I'm going to start choosing the nicer resources to grab. And if I close this door, the patrolling zombie will stop at this new door, rather than the door before, and turn back around. Piling up the dead. Alright, this screwdriver that I'm using only has one more tack left in it. That's fine. Let's actually ditch the screwdriver and take planks of wood. And new weapon. We will use the skillet. It's loud, but there shouldn't be too many zombies left here, because we've been doing a pretty good job of clearing them all. Snobby one, thank you for the resub. All threats cleared. You are now able to move in, which you can sort of see underneath the overlay on the top right. So if all threats are cleared, I don't need to sneak. It means that there's nothing that can harm me anymore. So let's go ahead and get back to our primary shelter and move into this new one. So, day log, results from scavenging. We also found strange markings. And we now also have Joe. Joe here is, as we said, a hungry boy. So if we want to keep Joe happy, we need to keep him fed. I'm going to give him vegetable soup, and that will fill up his food bar. So in terms of all our survivors, Diane's also a little hungry. I'm going to give her some junk food. And Joe is probably the one that needs to sleep most. So as much as I'd like to use Joe in order to loot stuff, one of the issues that we're going to have is, you know, they're all their needs are going to need to be met. Now, before I bother to assign any of the actions for this phase, instead, I'm going to choose to move to the Texway Gas Heart Street, because that fulfills the priority of moving shelters. So I'm going to move shelter instead of prepare. And what this does is survivors assigned to stations or map locations will be unassigned. Any crafting in process will be canceled or reimbursed. It's basically a phase where you just move. So instead of scavenging, resting, working, etc., you just switch bases. And now we are in the new base. So I'm going to put Joe to sleep. He is the most sleepy. We only have one bed in this location, unlike the last one, which had two. And Diane and Sebastian have just about the same sorts of stats at the moment. So let's see what we can get into. I would very much like to get a weapons bench. And in this case, if I assign Sebastian to the weapons bench, it will take 3/5 of the phase. Meaning I can have him make, like, a lockpick or two, although I don't want to do two, because I'd rather just have the metal. And that's his task queue. So now he's going to spend the night making a weapons bench and a lockpick. Joe's going to spend it sleeping. And then Diane is going to spend it out on the prowl. So interestingly, we could double back to Aunt May's truck stop diner where we were before, and it has a lot of food, as you can see. But it's now threat. Basically, it got overrun by zombies as we left. I would say that base resources are still one of the big musts, and because it's not likely we're going to move back to Buckland Yard anytime soon, I'm going to scavenge the container yard. I'll take lockpicks, the screwdriver that will be single use, and the meat cleaver. And that is it. And let's go. All survivors assigned. So sometimes there'll be zombies not directly in the path of walking that are kind of just like hunched over. And they're the types of zombies which will aggro if you make noise. So sometimes you'll find yourself in a room full of zombies that don't actually block your path or patrol. But if you alert the area, they'll all come running and you'll get swarmed. And unless you have a particularly good weapon, it doesn't take very many zombies, like 2 or 3, to bring a survivor down pretty quickly. And this is a good instance of that. Those two in this shipping container are active zombies that are just idle at the moment, waiting to be alerted if we make too much noise. Sometimes there'll be gaps, and you can hold shift to jump the gap. But it's hard to jump the gaps, not making too much noise. And there's also fall damage. So you want to avoid plummeting to your death. That's a real rough way to go. It sounds like something's underneath me, but it's hard to tell. Oh, yep. Now, I aggroed this zombie. But in this case, she can't climb. So she's trying to figure out how to get to me. But because there was no stairs, zombies can't vault, and they can't go up, like, ladders and the like. But when they see you, they'll start screaming and aggroing others. So it's best, in the case that you get found out, to just avoid contact and wait for them to settle back down. Because if you try to run away and you drag them through more zombies, additional zombies get aggroed, and it can snowball pretty quickly. So this is an instance where a whole bunch of zombies around me have aggroed. But in this case, that zombie that crawled out from the background was, like, more or less scripted to do it. So it wasn't like that was necessarily avoidable. They were always going to get up and chase me. And there are some events like that throughout the game where there are unavoidable zombie aggroing. Alright, we would need bolt cutters to get through that. I don't know how to make bolt cutters, and I don't have any. So that's... We could always return later if we end up with bolt cutters, mind you. These locations are persistent, so you can always return back to a location if you remember that it needed a specific tool. In the case of hiding in the background like I am now, If the zombie's coming from left to right, they won't see me where I am. If the zombie was coming from right to left, they would see me. So this is cover, but only for cover in one direction. Unfortunately, I didn't hit E fast enough, and they aggroed anyway. I could have waited for them to get even further, though. Oh, mystery pills. Exactly what you'd want to be taking. Loot does not respawn. It is persistent. We found the Victory Meat Processing and the Walton City Water Treatment. So I still have a whole bunch of inventory space. So let's keep searching for loot that I may have missed. A good run is one where you come back with bags full. Now there are items like broken bottles, which can alert the background zombies. You know, those sort of throwables. So if you do want to clear everything, because you want to make a lot of noise or something like that, it's possible to go that route. I don't usually carry the bottles, because it's easy enough to just avoid pissing off zombies, so you don't end up in an aggro fest. Alright, sugar and video camera. So some items like the video camera have to be dismantled for resources. Fortunately for me, the survivor that we just added, Joe, is particularly skilled at dismantling. And he'll get more resources for it. Generally speaking, an item that requires dismantling will yield more resources per inventory slot than an item that is loose. So if you had to choose between things to dismantle and like raw resources, choose things to dismantle, provided that you have the labor pool in order to afford the dismantling. All right, my inventory is not totally full, but full enough that I'm gonna get out of here now, and I'm gonna exit. Oops, not that way. I'm gonna exit west. Most maps you can exit east or west, so in this case, I'm just gonna jump the fence and go back to the shelter this way. Okay, so we produced a weapons bench, lockpicks, and then brought home a whole bunch of stuff. Joe is a little hungry. I think something that would be really handy to do next would be to get a cooking station, because Joe needs to be fed or he loses a lot of morale. So that's going to be a high priority. With that said, Joe has the most inventory space. He's a pack mule. So making sure that he is making sure that he's well fed so that we can use his pack mule is going to be really handy. We're also relatively low on weapons, so I'm going to queue up 2 makeshift hammers to be made by Sebastian. And then Diane, let's see if we have the resources for building a cooking station. We do. Perfect. So she's going to make a cooking area. We've got Sebastian making new melee weapons for us. And then Joe is going to get deployed. All right, taking a look around. I know that I said I needed a lot of food. Independence Boulevard is chock full of food according to the map here, so I'm going to prepare to scavenge there. Now, the one issue that I might have going forward is I don't have a lot of melee weapons. This meat cleaver's about 2/3 durability, and the skillet's only half durability. So there's a chance that I end up breaking all of my melee weapons, but that's fine. So the current priority right now is provide weapons and food. That's what I'm going to be focused on because we're relatively low on both weapons and food. And let's start with the skillet. It is way noisier than the cleaver, so I'll switch weapons if it is appropriate. I'm not going to catch them before they get turned around, so let's hide. Can weapon durability be restored? Melee weapons, no. Ranged weapons, yes. Donk! Isn't the pan noisy? Yes, which is why I made sure that there wasn't many around when I used it. Noise weapons are fine to use as long as you're alone. Alright, what's going on over here? A faint transmission. An unfamiliar voice is asking for an airlift out of the city. It seems someone they love is gravely ill. And all of these clues are about how to get out of the city. Vantage point. We found Springwood Drive and Schrader Street. That's a nice treehouse. Skillet's about to break, so I'm going to ditch it for the rake. And then I am going to ditch the carrots for wood planks to build. And I can always come back to that shed if I want it. I used a lockpick to open the shed, but the shed won't relock itself. Oh, look who it is. What are you doing out there? Don't you know it's dangerous? Oh no, I had no idea. Well, suit yourself. Michelle, stand still, let me get a look at you. Okay. You're looking a bit tired, but I bet I look worse. I've been here since the big game. I know I could have left when the evacuation started, but Eugene, my husband, he never came home. Is this your home? No, but it's one of the houses I had on the market. I knew it'd be empty. I left a note on the table for Eugene. I promised I'd wait. It's been a long week. I'm sorry about your husband. Thanks, so am I. Whatever happened to him out there, I hope it was quick. What about you? What's got you wandering around the neighborhood like this? I've got a shelter not far from here. Why don't you join us? You're kidding. Really? Really? It's kind of you to offer, but I don't know you. We've got to look out for one another. Or each other. Maybe you're right? So in this case, we could recruit her. I think the sweet spot for this game, honestly, unless... It depends on the types of bases you have, but it's kind of like 3. But she would be able to make lockpicks, eats less, and is an insomniac. But I'm going to say there's no room for now. In the case that we do lose a survivor, we can always come back and change our mind and ask her to join. That's certainly a possibility. Alright, let's keep using the meat cleaver. And this ought to be the last room in the house. I'm going to ditch beer for fabric, because I know that the cooking station we just made used a whole lot of fabric. And because we're done here, I don't really care about the noise I make. I can just sprint out, because, you know, it's not a big deal if they start chasing me from here. And there's the run. Thank you for tuning in to Into the Dead, Our Darkest Days, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, fellow zombie apocalypse survivors.